Ms. Moffat shares with the court that she always believed Mr. Johnson was her father until 2 years ago when she received a message from another man claiming to be her biological father. This message has caused her significant confusion and emotional distress. She is seeking a paternity test to resolve the paternity question. Just wait until you hear what's up next.
Ms. Moffat, you always believed the defendant was your dad until 2 years ago when you received a message from a man claiming to be your biological father. You are tired of the confusion and are petitioning the court for a paternity test to prove the defendant is your dad.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more complicated, Mr. Johnson expresses his doubts about being the father due to the mother's behavior and his uncertainty about his paternity. He indicates that the plaintiff's mother had relationships with multiple partners, which contributed to his skepticism. His doubt has led to the need for the court's intervention. Brace yourself. The next revelation is a doozy.
Mr. Johnson, you say the plaintiff's mother played game and unfortunately have substantial reason to doubt paternity. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Moffat, you received a message from another man?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell that story.
This testimony really throws a spanner in the works. Mr. Johnson narrates his previous romantic relationship with Ms. Moffat's mother, which was complicated by his marital status and their secretive meetings. He admits to having concurrent relationships during the time Ms. Moffat was conceived, which fuels his doubt about his paternity. Their secret relationship and his existing doubts play a significant role in the paternity case. What comes next will knock your socks off.
And you were always told Mr. Johnson was your father?
Yes.
And this phone call out the blue, this message?
Yeah, just like where'd it come from? Like all of a sudden, out of 2 or 3 years.
Mr. Johnson, tell me why you have doubts.
2 other guys was, at the time was dealing with Miss Moffat, and I just had doubts that I was her biological father at the time. I didn't know. I really didn't. I didn't know if I was the father or not.
The plot thickens with this bombshell. Ms. Moffat recounts the circumstances around her pregnancy, revealing that she was sexually active with Mr. Johnson and another man, Mr. Saunders, around the same time. She was unsure of the paternity, but informed both men that they could be the father. This revelation is crucial as it sets the stage for the paternity confusion affecting all parties involved. The next part adds even more to the drama. You're not going to want to miss it.
Tell the court what happened when you found out you were pregnant.
I wasn't sure who was the father because I had went out to Maywood, and at that time Mr. Johnson was at work, so I stayed around so we could see each other. But in the meantime, I had went to one of my friend houses named Mr. Saunders, which I was dating before Mr. Johnson. Basically, I ended up having sex with him that day and Mr. Johnson at the same time.
Here's a moment that changes everything. Following the birth of her child, Ms. Moffat informed both Mr. Johnson and Mr. Saunders that they could be the father based on the timing of their relationships. Mr. Saunders immediately claimed the child upon seeing her, although Ms. Moffat had doubts about this claim. This moment highlights the ongoing uncertainty and the emotional strain on Ms. Moffat as she navigates the relationships with both men. The tension is about to go through the roof, so stay tuned.
You brought it to him, and what did you say when you brought the picture?
I told him, I said, here's Rissa, and here's your child, that you could be possible father. And also I did let him know about Mr. Saunders at the same time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You brought him this picture and said you could be the father.
Yes.
And there's also another potential father, Mr. Saunders. Is that what you said?
Yes, Your Honor.
And
She
so
was.
then did you have doubt at that point?
Big time.
You won't believe the turn of events here. Ms. Moffat explains her decision to finally seek clarity about her daughter's paternity, emphasizing the emotional toll the secrecy has taken on Nerissa. She expresses a desire for her daughter to have a clear understanding of her familial ties to facilitate emotional healing and relationship building. This is pivotal as it underscores the impact of the paternity uncertainty on Nerissa's well-being. The revelation that follows is truly moving, and it's a tearjerker for sure.
Who her biological father is and need closure so she won't be torn between 2 fathers, so she can have clarity and just go on, and they could build a bond. She have other siblings out there that she need to meet, and because they never did believe that Rissa was his anyways. But
Your family never believed that Nerissa was your biological child?
Right. They don't believe it.
This moment is a real game changer. The court reveals that.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are her father.
The court session begins as the judge allows everyone to be seated and the case of Rose versus Jefferson versus Power is announced. Just when you thought it was straightforward, get ready for some wild twists.
This is a case of Rose versus Jefferson versus Power.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good day, everyone. Ms. Rose, you are asking the court for DNA tests on 2 men. Your on-again, off-again boyfriend, Mr. Jefferson,
and his good friend, Mr. Power, who is waiting outside of the courtroom.
Things are heating up quicker than a microwave dinner. Ms. Rose is also suing Mr. Jefferson for defamation, claiming he damaged her reputation at church, work, and within her social circle. Mr. Jefferson expresses his doubts about the paternity of his children due to Ms. Rose's history of infidelity. Stay tuned, it's about to get even spicier.
Now, Ms. Rose, you're also suing Mr. Jefferson $5,000 for defamation of character. You claim he's ruined your reputation at church, your job, and with your entire circle of friends.
Absolutely.
Now, Mr. Jefferson, you say you not only question the paternity of your 3-year-old son, but you are also asking for the results of a DNA test on your 2-year-old son, Zayden, as well.
As the backstory unfolds, hold on to your popcorn. Mr. Jefferson details his non-committed relationship beginnings with Ms. Rose, mentioning their mutual involvement with other people, including his friend Michael Powers. You think this is juicy? Just wait for the next reveal.
We first got together, and every time we would break up, she would go right with my friend Michael Powers. And when she first got pregnant, we were both seeing other people at the time.
Okay.
You know?
So non-committed relationship.
Yes, very non-committed relationship at first. I didn't really commit to her until I found out she was pregnant.
That's not true.
This tangled web gets even wilder. Alicia reveals the complexity of her relationships, explaining how she was initially involved with Michael and later became serious with Kenneth, all while overlapping relationships without realizing the men were friends. Grab your snacks, the drama escalates.
I met Michael first and was sleeping with him. We were kind of together, but not very serious. He fell in love with someone, moved on, and then I ended up with Kenneth. But I didn't know they were friends at the time.
Okay.
That's the thing. There was a point where I was sleeping with both of them at the same time. And then later, that probably went on for a good month. And then I ended up getting more serious with him. What happened is actually I stopped seeing Michael and committed to Kenneth. And then I ended up finding out I was pregnant about 2.5 weeks later.
Enter Mr. Power, and the plot thickens like a good stew. Mr. Power is brought into the courtroom. He discusses his history with Alicia, including their initial encounter and subsequent interaction, admitting to the possibility of being Sire's father due to their past relationship. The stage is set for more bombshells, so keep watching.
Mr. Power, thank you for joining us today. Have been having a discussion about Sire and who could possibly be his father. We have learned from Ms. Rose that she was in fact sleeping with you and Mr. Jefferson. You two are friends, right?
Best friends.
Best friends.
Yeah.
Around the same time. You believe that you potentially could be Sire's father.
Without a doubt.
The emotional roller coaster hits a steep drop. Emotional turmoil surfaces as the parties discuss the impact of the relationship dynamics on their lives and the well-being of the involved children, highlighting the strain caused by jealousy and insecurity. As the courtroom drama peaks, the DNA results are about to be unleashed.
I want to cry right now. I've betrayed my best friend, man.
I'm looking at your face and you look emotional. That's why I asked you, you really feel bad. That's your best friend.
20 years.
So what has this done to your relationship, Mr. Jefferson, with you and Ms. Rose? Where are you two at?
We're kind of in a relationship. It's off and on rocky.
So the outcome of these tests is going to determine the future of your relationship and your family.
Take a deep breath. Here come the DNA results.
Mr. Jefferson, you are the father.
Thank you. Thank you.
The case of Smith versus Bailey Anderson is introduced in a bustling courtroom. The plaintiff, Miss Smith, is fervently pursuing multiple paternity tests to identify the true biological father of her 1-year-old daughter, Tamia. She's pointing fingers at 3 potential dads: Mr. Bailey, her ex and potential father number 1, Mr. Anderson, a one-night stand and possible father number 2, and a third mystery man yet to be discussed. Buckle up, because this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Miss Smith, you're here because you love your 1-year-old daughter, Tamia, and say you're hoping your mistake don't ruin her life. Now, at this moment, you claim she has 3 possible fathers. You've requested results of multiple paternity tests to determine who her 1 biological father is.
Can you believe this? Miss Smith spills the beans about her turbulent love life to the entire court. She was married, but amidst her crumbling marriage, she found solace and a bit more with Mr. Bailey, her on-again, off-again flame of 8 years. This affair peppered through her marriage, stirring up a paternity puzzle for poor little Tamia. And guess what? It's about to get even juicier.
I was married. I was really going through a bad time with my husband. We was going through some things. 8 years we've messed around.
So this has been a long-term relationship that extended into the time during your marriage.
He's my soulmate sexually.
So you're denying it, but you're here in this courtroom, which means you must have participated in some part of this.
I participated in it.
Hold on to your seats, folks. Judge Lake is turning up the heat, demanding crystal clear honesty. Judge Lake probes Miss Smith about her liaisons during Tamia's conception window, admitting to to just 2 encounters, Miss Smith, amidst courtroom gasps, holds firm on her wish to pin down her daughter's daddy to ensure Tamia has the father figure she deserves. Oh, and keep watching because you won't believe what's coming up next.
If he needed some doubt to hang his hat on, you gave it to him. You want to deny her and say she's this and she's that, but the truth is you do admit having a long-term relationship with this woman. You potentially could produce a child together, and you acting like it's not even possible, even though her actions and her behavior.
As Mr. Anderson strides into the courtroom, the plot thickens. Mr. Anderson, the notorious one-night stand, steps up to the plate, recounting his fleeting romantic encounter with Miss Smith. Despite admitting to the tryst, he casts doubt about fathering Tamia due to a medical condition he believes might prevent him from having healthy children. The courtroom is hanging on every word, and you should too, because this roller coaster is far from over.
If you had sex with this woman one time, then you just have to own the fact that you could be the child's father. I know it's hard to accept when it was just a one-night stand, but it's a whole lot of people in this world from one-night stands, I hate to tell you. When did you first hear about Tamia?
About 2 months ago, came to see me and she brought her and the child and another child.
Just when you think you've heard it all, there's a twist. The heated debate pivots to who's named as daddy on Tamia's birth certificate. It turns out Miss Smith's husband is listed because he was physically there at the birth, complicating the paternity drama even further. You'll want to stick around because the revelations that follow might just blow the roof off this courtroom.
This man was too scared to step up to his responsibility.
Because you told 5 people that was
this
the
woman right here, Smith, all this time.
I know you're passionate and I know this means a lot to you, but I need you to speak in a respectful way in the courtroom. Mr. Bailey has doubt. Is there any possibility that there could be any other guy that could be the father?
No, ma'am.
Enter Mrs. Bailey, the wife of Mr. Bailey, adding her own flavor to this spicy courtroom saga. She confirms knowing all about her husband's escapades with Miss Smith, painting a vivid picture of a convoluted household where loyalty is as thin as the court papers. With both women pregnant at the same time under the same roof, the scandal meter is off the charts. And just when you think it can't get any wilder, hold on to your gavel, because it does.
She was homeless. That's how she came to stay with me. You don't have nowhere to take a baby. This girl moved with me. That house was on, it was in me and my husband's name.
I'm just trying to understand your hurt.
I have been there.
Hold on, let's calm down.
The courtroom buzzes with anticipation as Judge Lake prepares to reveal the paternity results. The envelope, please.
It has been determined that the biological father is Mr. Bailey.
Thank you.
The court session begins, and Jerome calls the case of Thomas Veer Zachary. Judge Lake greets everyone, and the audience is all smiles. The stage is set, and the courtroom is buzzing.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Thomas versus Zachary.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Thomas, you claim you've been petitioning the court system for a DNA test for 15-month-old Hannah Thomas for more than a year now.
Miss Zachary is not holding back. She boldly claims Mr. Thomas is the father of her daughter and tells him to step up and reunite their family. Her statement spices things up even more.
Ms. Zachary, you claim Mr. Thomas is the father of your daughter, and it's time he step up to the plate and bring your family back together. So, Mr. Thomas, when did you learn you were going to be put on child support?
2 weeks ago, Your Honor. I went to the mailbox thinking I'm getting a check, and
Mr. Thomas throws a curveball about the pregnancy timeline. He thinks it progressed too quickly for the dates Ms. Zachary mentioned. Ms. Zachary reveals she was carrying twins, explaining her rapid size increase. Surprises keep coming.
I never received any paperwork at all. She said she was between 3 to 5 weeks. I believed her with 3 to 5 weeks. We got back together in August. We were having a lot of makeup sex, you can say. So I'm like, okay, yeah, it's probably my baby. If it's 3 to 4 weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks, it all adds up. It's possible, you know?
So you're doing the calculation in your mind, and you say if this baby was conceived in August.
Yeah, after a couple months, I'm looking like, wow, she's getting kind of big, kind of fast. She's, 5, 6 weeks. What's going on?
Mr. Thomas digs deeper into the pregnancy mystery. He saw a doctor's note suggesting the pregnancy was more advanced than he thought, fueling his doubts. Get ready for a big revelation.
Hold on, wait a minute, y'all.
No.
So when you were at the doctor's appointment with her,
yes,
the doctors asked her, encouraged her to stop smoking, but you also got a look at the paperwork.
No, he did not.
And when you saw it, it had...
I received the paperwork in my hand, and it had to be between 13 and 15.
And at that time, when you were at the appointment, how many weeks did you think?
Supposed to be around 9 weeks at the time.
This is going through your head.
And it's just everything that's been building up. It just was building up and building building up like, okay.
Skeletons tumble out of the closet. Ms. Zachary admits to being with another man during a brief separation, intensifying Mr. Thomas's doubts. The drama keeps unfolding.
During the whole pregnancy, I was with him. I was honest about everything with him.
She was correct about that. She was honest.
What did she say?
At the beginning of August, she told me when we got back together, she told me, oh yeah, I've been having unprotected.
I told you before
She basically told me that she's been having unprotected sex with
that
a guy.
That was July, beginning of July. That was the beginning of July.
With a guy that she
was with a kid.
It's like a soap opera. Their relationship issues come to light with accusations of infidelity and mistrust. The story gets more tangled with each layer peeled back.
The end of July, beginning of
August.
August.
A dirty fighter, Donna. We've been together almost 6 years. I'm leaving out the house. I'm going to go to my parents' house for a while. Or you leave and you go with your mom or something.
No, that's
like
not
that.
a break.
That was a break between us, and we were always back together within a month. So it was still no excuse. A break is not an excuse to go sleep with someone and have a child by someone else at all.
After this, you still stuck by her.
Exactly.
And then you signed the birth certificate when you were at the hospital, am I correct?
Yes, I did.
The tension rises as they argue over fidelity and trust. Mr. Thomas questions paternity based on their breaks, and Ms. Zachary's interactions with another man. The plot thickens even more.
Because you kept on saying you didn't know if she was yours. And I was honest. I told him that it was a possibility.
Your Honor, Rakai's a dirty fighter. She's a dirty fighter. We just came and I go sleep on the couch and she's in the bed. She brings the deepest, darkest secrets, and they're true, to the light. And she will tell, these not your kids anyway. Why you help me take
Wait, hold on.
Really?
At some point, she said that to you?
Yes, to my face. We had twins. Hannah is a twin. It was Hannah and Heather.
Mr. Thomas's uncle, Pierre Hill, steps in. He doubts Mr. Thomas's paternity based on the child's looks and a picture Ms. Zachary showed him of another man. The drama escalates.
Mr. Hill, you are Mr. Thomas's uncle. What do you know about this situation?
You know what, Your Honor, this whole situation is just crazy, like fighting to the arguing and stuff like that. I don't think that he is the father of Hannah. And the reason why is because she just don't look like him. And another reason, one time me and, Kaya was hanging out in the house, they had got into it. I left to get some air.
The court dives into evidence, including text messages, raising more questions about the child's father. Their complicated relationship history clouds the issue further.
Mr. Thomas was going through my phone, and that's how he knew.
So are admitting that you have a person logged into your contacts as Hannah's dad?
No, I do not.
So this isn't from your phone?
I don't know what that document is.
That's a screenshot of a text message that's been printed out, Your Honor.
What's the number?
224, and then it's 572, and we can't say the rest.
That's possible that's his number.
Is that your phone number, Mr. Thomas?
No, my number starts 224-619.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the DNA test results reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Thomas, you are her father.
Get ready for a roller coaster. Ms. Campbell steps into the spotlight, desperate to uncover if her 3-week-old daughter's father is the man she's in love with. The tension in the courtroom is as thick as molasses. Mr. Rogers, who's entangled in a rather unconventional family dynamic, shares his anxieties about possibly not being the father. Trust me, the twists are just starting.
Desperate to learn if the man you're in love with is indeed your 3-week-old daughter's biological father. Now, Mr. Rogers, you're a married man. You have reason to doubt. You say it would break your heart if you found out today that you're not Anna Gale's father.
Brace for a deep dive into family drama. Mr. Rogers lays out the intricate web of his relationships with his 2 wives and their collective decision to have children. They all share a home, a bed, and a complicated set of family rules. What's coming up next? Well, it's a spicy revelation at a swingers club that you won't see coming.
She brought Gracie into the relationship just for herself. I knew she liked women, so I kind of just let her go ahead.
Okay. And
I got brought into it about a year later. Gracie wanted to have children. She said she was getting to the age where she wanted to have kids. Angela told her, she said, the only way you can have children. I agreed.
The plot thickens here. Amid the complexities of a polyamorous agreement, Mr. Rogers unveils the breach that led to major paternity doubts. The women's venture to a swingers club in Phoenix. The events that unfolded there risk unraveling the fabric of their entire arrangement. What spills next will definitely turn heads.
Who are in a polyamorous relationship, so that means you expect that both of these women would only be sleeping with you. That's what you felt like the deal was.
I was supposed to be the dad. They decided they was going to go to Phoenix, where Gracie's mom lived.
Me and Angela went to Phoenix to pick up my mother.
Here comes a curveball. It turns out that both Ms. Campbell and Ms. Rogers didn't just dance at the swingers club. They had unprotected encounters with another man. Mr. Rogers, blindsided by these events, struggles to grapple with the breach of trust. The aftermath is about to drop, and trust me, it's a doozy.
Standing before me, you weren't just dancing at this club. And it wouldn't be called a swingers club if it was just a dance club. So what happened?
He got really drunk. He started talking to some guy, kissing on this guy. Ended up having relations with this guy that we don't even know.
You both have sex with this guy?
Yes,
Your Honor. Without protection?
Yes,
Your Honor.
Get ready for a heart tugger. Mr. Rogers delves into his personal history, discussing his absent father and his determination to be a better dad to his kids, regardless of the DNA results. The emotional weight is palpable. Up next, a dive into the evidence that might just tip the scales.
You know, he was there one day and then I didn't see him again 10 years later. I don't want none of my kids to go through that, whether they're or not. You know, it's not the kid's fault.
I have here evidence of the conception date, and I also have a calendar.
Things are heating up with some crucial evidence on deck. The courtroom digs into the exact dates around the baby's conception, piecing together a timeline with potential fathers marked on the calendar. This key piece of evidence could change everything, and just when you think it can't get more tangled, another paternity issue pops up.
That your date of conception is the 11th, and when we look at the 11th, there's no one but the day before would be potential father number 2. That's really close to the 11th.
I know in my heart that I did mess up. I did. But I want him to know, of course, he might not be the father.
You won't believe what's next for Austin. As the family wrestles with the consequences of their choices, another paternity case involving Austin comes to light, spurred by a recent medical diagnosis. Secrets long buried are now surfacing, adding layers to an already dramatic narrative. The outcome? It's just around the corner.
I told him what I'd done immediately.
Austin, you're here because you want to get some answers today regarding your paternity. Mr. Rogers, who raised you, you know him as dad, may or may not be your biological father. Is that correct?
Yes.
Just when you thought it was safe to breathe, the final verdicts are in. In a moment charged with emotion, the paternity results confirmed.
And the wait is over. You are his father.
Buckle up, folks. This is where the drama kicks off. At the start of the hearing, Miss Hayslip lays it all out on the table. She's seeking a DNA test to confirm if Mr. Hayslip is indeed her biological father. Despite years of believing he was, she recounts that he has consistently been absent from her life. This moment sets the stage for what's shaping up to be an emotional roller coaster. You'll definitely want to stick around for the next part. It's a doozy.
Ms. Hayslip, you are seeking a DNA test to prove that Mr. Hayslip, the defendant, is your biological father. You've believed he is your biological father for many years, yet you say he has never allowed you into his life. You acknowledge that your mother may have had sexual relations with multiple at the time of your conception, but you claim you were always told that Mr. Hayslip is your father.
Hold your coffee tight, because this next bit is a wild ride. Mr. Hayslip unveils a jaw-dropping twist in his tale. His first inkling that he might have a daughter came during a routine traffic stop that escalated to an arrest for unpaid child support. This bombshell was totally out of the blue, as he was clueless about her existence up to that point. The story only spirals from here, so keep watching.
When did you first hear that Ms. Hayslip is potentially your daughter?
I had moved from southern Michigan to northern Michigan. I was on my way back, about a 200-mile trip to southern Michigan.
And this was the first time you're driving along routine traffic stop and they say this to you?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, they handcuffed me, and when they did, I was pretty mad, and I struggled a little bit with him. He was adamant about it, and I asked, well, who is it? And he's like, well, it's not coming up.
Can you handle more? Because here it comes. Miss Hayslip dives into her upbringing, packed with belief and confusion, crediting her mom with the revelation that Mr. Hayslip was her dad. Her attempts to connect with his family peel back layers on the complex dynamics and emotional baggage at play. And trust me, you haven't seen anything yet. The next testimony turns the heat up even more.
Ms. Hayslip, you have a completely different understanding that you were told as a child.
As I was growing up, I knew David as my father.
Who told you that he was?
My mother. And then my mother would tell me that he had nothing to do with me. He never wanted anything to do with me, but was trying to get with her.
As a child, what's your first memory where your mother told you?
It was around 5. She told me that he could be my father, but earlier she always said David Hayslip.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, Aunt Susan steps into the spotlight. She's here to back up Celeste, spilling tea about her attempts to bridge gaps with a mom who's gatekeeping pretty hard. This adds a whole new layer of family drama and mystery to the mix, showing just how messy things can get. The emotional thermostat is about to explode. Watch out for what's coming.
Celeste's aunt.
David's sister.
And Mr. Hayslip's sister.
Yes.
And you are standing on this side of the podium.
Yes, I do. I met Celeste when she was like 5, 6. Her mother kept approaching me, and I didn't know who she was. And then she was approaching me, telling me that my brother fathered her daughter. I kept asking her and asking her and asking her to let me know Celeste, get to know her. She denied me. She wouldn't let me get to know her.
And now for the fireworks. Mr. Hayslip doesn't hold back, venting his fury over being shackled to fatherhood and child support without definitive proof. His raw, unfiltered frustration about the financial and emotional strains paints a vivid picture of his turmoil. And guess what? The next revelation is just around the corner, and it's a game changer.
You know, I was never tested for her. I deny her. But even if she is my daughter, which I don't believe she is, that should be up to me.
You felt like she was out of place bringing Miss Hayslip to your family before you made that initial move.
Yes, that's my decision.
Ms. Hodgemeyer, why is it that you felt like that was the appropriate time?
Because he didn't want to accept Celeste. He didn't want to accept the situation. I was feeling that the only way to get her into this family and to get her accepted, she had to be known.
How do you know you're not bringing someone into my family?
As everyone leans in, the air thick with anticipation, the climax of the episode doesn't disappoint. Judge Lake delivers the DNA test results, confirming.
Mr. Hayslip, you are her father.
Hold on to your seats because this is just the beginning. Mr. Peebles kicks off the case by throwing a curveball about not being the father of little Amariah. He's adamant about his non-paternity claim and is pinning all his hopes on the DNA test to bail him out of this pickle. The stage is set, the players are ready, and boy, does it look like we're in for a roller coaster of emotions. Buckle up because the ride's just getting started and it's about to get bumpier.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Peoples versus Peoples.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Peebles, you say you married the defendant, Mrs. Peebles, on April Fool's Day 2 years ago, but since then you've been played for a fool. You are not her 20-month-old daughter, Amira, biological father, and are stuck on the birth certificate until today's results prove you are not her dad.
You won't believe what's coming next. The air in the courtroom is thick with accusations, flying back and forth like a heated tennis match. Mr. Peebles accuses Mrs. Peebles of pulling the wool over his eyes, painting a picture of betrayal and deceit. In response, Mrs. Peebles fires back, claiming she's merely reacting to his misdeeds. The plot thickens, and the stakes are higher than ever. You might want to grab some popcorn, because this drama isn't slowing down anytime soon.
I do it all. From taking care of Amira, take care of him. He's like my third child. So how am I fooling anybody? He's fooling me, deceiving me, saying he loved me. He don't really love me.
Do you love him, Mr. Peebles?
Yeah, I love it, but this is just like a stopping point right now.
Now, he claimed I was cheating on him. I did. It's because he cheated on me first.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, Mr. Peebles drops a sentimental bomb about his excitement at potentially being a father for the first time. The heart of the matter comes into focus as he reminisces about their once unprotected love story, now marred by suspicion and distrust. The buildup is real, and everyone's on the edge of their seats as we inch closer to the truth. Keep your eyes peeled. The truth is about to unfold in spectacular fashion.
When you find this out, Mr. Peebles, what is your reaction?
My reaction was, I'm super excited. This gonna be my first child. But I keep replaying like these time frames. Almost 2 years of being together, unprotected sex. Never got pregnant until you go outside the relationship and come back, and now you pregnant.
Grab your notebooks because the plot twists just keep coming. The courtroom gasps as Mr. Peebles' tale of an affair and a child with another woman while still married unfolds. This bombshell revelation throws a wrench into the already chaotic dynamics of their marriage, escalating the emotional turmoil to new heights. The courtroom is buzzing, and the air is ripe with anticipation. What will happen next? Stay tuned. It's going to be a jaw-dropper.
I moved in. It wasn't even moving in with her. I moved in with my best friend. I ended up meeting this other person. We got intimate.
They take pictures together.
Started spending the night. We moved in.
While you all are still married, all this is happening?
Yeah. He don't take me out, Your Honor. He don't do nothing for me. But I see on Facebook, he all hugged up on her. When do we take pictures? We married. We don't take pictures together.
As the clock ticks down to the DNA results, Mr. Peebles gives a lukewarm declaration about his commitment to the marriage, conditional on the DNA results. This half-hearted commitment lays bare the fractures in their union, spotlighting the deep-seated issues that have been simmering beneath the surface. The tension is palpable, and everyone's guessing game is on. The results are about to be revealed, and let me tell you, it's going to be a doozy.
It's not fair. All I wanted was my family.
So you do want your family?
With this other baby involved and issues, I don't think this gonna work. He don't want it. He don't care about me. All he doing is using me. And I let him stomp on me and do it all. And I still just take the punches and still love him.
Be at the top somewhere then.
Mr. Peebles, do you want this relationship, this marriage to work?
He don't.
Honestly, these results gonna reflect on what's gonna happen.
Are you ready for this? The results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Peebles, you are the father.
Now take care of your responsibility. Help me out. Help me out. I ain't dumb.
Strap in for this wild start. Ms. Kavanaugh kicks off the proceedings with a bombshell, claiming Mr. Spence, her mother's longtime buddy, might just be the father of her son Malcolm. The audience gasps like they're at a horror movie premiere. Just watch. The roller coaster is just getting started.
Ms. Kavanaugh, you appeared in our courtroom previously and tested 2 men as potential fathers of your 1-month-old son Malcolm. Fortunately, neither turned out to be his biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You believe Malcolm's biological father is a good friend of your mother's, the defendant, Mr. Spence.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it thickens. Mr. Spence drops a truth bomb admitting to a lapse in judgment that led him to sleep with Ms. Kavanaugh. And now, he's possibly the dad. This admission throws everything into high gear as we dive deeper into the paternity puzzle. Hang on, because the next revelation is a doozy.
A friend of Ms. Kavanaugh's mother and say her daughter made several attempts to have sex with you. Then after a lapse in judgment, you admit you did sleep with her. Now you say there's a chance you could be Malcolm's father. Ms. Kavanaugh.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your mother's friend?
Yes, Your Honor.
Talk about a plot twist. Ms. Kavanaugh spills the tea on her strategy of seduction, complete with risque outfits and too much booze. She's remorseful, realizing her tactics were more about grabbing attention than anything else. Buckle up, there's more juicy details ahead.
Subconsciously, I was trying to seduce him. I was wearing inappropriate things around him.
And why were you doing that?
In all honesty, I was drinking a lot. I don't know if I did it for a challenge or because I was wanting attention. It was just that I did. That was really stupid of me at the time.
You won't see this coming. As Mr. Spence recounts their encounters, his resistance wears down with each visit from Ms. Kavanaugh. Clad in what sounds like less fabric than more, he details a slow but sure capitulation that led to their eventual tryst. And guess what? The twists keep coming.
How did you end up being in the position you were sleeping with your really good friend's daughter?
It was like she said, came over a couple of times. She was in inappropriate gear. The first time, I shunned it off. Second time, I said, hey, watch yourself. Third time, it's starting to look good. Fourth time.
This situation escalates quickly. They debate the number of times they were intimate. Mr. Spence claims once. Ms. Kavanaugh says at least twice. Who to believe? The plot thickens, and you won't want to miss what's next.
Wow, so how many times were you intimate with her?
One.
Just once?
Yes, once.
Just one time, Ms. Kavanaugh?
Your Honor, I do not believe it to be once. It was at least twice, but that's just how I remember it.
And now, we have Malcolm, 1 month old.
The plot thickens. We're now dissecting the timeline of the pregnancy, placing Mr. Spence smack in the middle of the conception window. It's a crucial moment that could tilt the scales in this paternity drama. The next piece of the puzzle will definitely raise some eyebrows.
He could be a possibility that Mr. Spence is the father. And I texted him and I asked him, when was the last time we had sex? He told me it was the end of October.
And when was Malcolm born?
He was born July 9th.
So when you do the math on that, that's...
Yes.
About the window of conception.
Yes, Your Honor.
Didn't see that coming, did you? Mr. Spence reveals he's actually married, which throws another layer of chaos into the mix. His admission adds a spicy twist to the story, complicating things further. Trust me, the next part is even more startling.
That's not what I'm hoping.
What are you hoping?
I hope for the truth. If he is my son, like I told her, I'm gonna be there.
Why exactly do you have doubt?
My doubt is, first of all, it was only one.
The window of conception that she described, baby born in July.
Yeah.
You within the window of conception. You dispute that?
That I do not dispute.
All
That's
right.
why I'm here.
As the tension peaks, DNA results for Mr. Scott are out. And guess what?
When it comes to the paternity of 1 month old Malcolm Kavanaugh, Mr. Spence, you are not his father.
It's okay.
Judge Lake greets everyone with her usual flair and introduces the spicy case of Cooper vs. Canterbury. Just wait until you hear what happens next. It's going to be a roller coaster.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Cooper versus Canterbury.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Cooper, you admit to a brief sexual fling with the defendant, but state there is no way you fathered her 2-year-old son, Jaden. You opened your case because you claim Ms. Canterbury threatened to put you on child support, and you want to prove you're not the father father before she can do that.
Can you believe this drama? Mr. Cooper casually admits to a brief fling with Ms. Canterbury, but adamantly denies fathering her son, Jaden. He's determined to avoid those pesky child support obligations. The drama is just beginning, and it's already so juicy.
Wait, he just got dropped off.
Right. My point exactly. That's how quick she fell in love with the baby.
She told Miss Canterbury to leave the baby there with her.
She knew from the start that he was Jaden's. Jaden looked
How old was Jaden when you left the baby with his mom?
He was probably like a month old.
Man, right.
A month old.
Exactly.
But now he's 2 years old.
Almost
About to
three.
be 3.
Almost 3, yep.
What a moment. Mr. Cooper presents a calendar to explain the timeline of their sexual encounters, claiming he wore a condom every time. The details are getting even juicier, and you won't believe what's next.
You see right here?
Yes.
In the week of September, this is the first time we had sex. I wore a condom.
Nope.
Second time we had sex was this week through the 28th. And I remember it was threesome. We was all drunk.
You are
And I had a condom
definitely a
on.
lie.
How are you so sure you wore the condom?
Judge, I woke up with it on.
Oh!
What a twist. Judge Lake performs a calculation using Jaden's birth date to determine the window of conception, aligning perfectly with Ms. Canterbury's timeline. The suspense keeps building, and it's electrifying.
My point exactly.
All right, you may step back to the plaintiff's podium and let me do my own calculation. Let me get the conception calculator here and let's go to work. So let's start with, when was Jaden born?
May 27, 2016.
May 27th?
Can you believe this drama? Judge Lake highlights the inconsistency in Mr. Cooper's calendar and reiterates the calculated conception window, further challenging his shaky claims. The tension is at its peak, and you won't believe what's next.
Date in, got it. If we hit calculate, the conception window would have been between September 2nd and September 6th, and the most probable time of sex would be between August 30th and September 6th.
Judge,
So let's go back to your calendar, Mr. Cooper.
What a revelation. Mr. Cooper sticks to his story, maintaining he wore a condom during their encounters, while Ms. Canterbury insists otherwise. The drama intensifies, and the stakes couldn't be higher.
You wore a condom.
I sure did the first 2 times.
Nope.
Not the third
We
time.
didn't
Not
have-
in
we didn't
October.
have
I
sex
didn't. I'm
3
not gonna
times
lie.
this year. You
I
sound dumb.
had a few drinks.
You got caught slipping.
More than a few.
I was more than slipping. I was falling. I don't know what to say, Judge.
So you're saying that in your calculation, you were not having sex with Ms. Canterbury during the window of conception.
Right.
This is wild. Mr. Cooper insists he wasn't even in town during the likely conception period, leading to a fiery exchange with Ms. Canterbury. The stakes are even higher now, and the tension is through the roof.
Now I'm gonna say this one time. Can I say something, Judge, please?
But August was not on your exhibit, Mr. Cooper. So
Because he don't know what he's talking about. He just looks dumb. He don't know what he's talking about.
I do know what I'm talking about.
You don't.
And why could it not be August, Mr. Cooper?
Jaden was made in August. I ain't touched back down to Toledo to September.
What a twist. Ms. Canterbury reveals her current boyfriend, Casey, has been acting as Jaden's father since he was 1, providing financial and emotional support. This story has more twists and turns than a soap opera.
Who's been Jaden's father
My
figure?
boyfriend, Casey.
So your boyfriend has had to step up and be a father figure to Jaden.
Yes, we've been together before Jaden was 1 year old. He's been here, he's taken care of him financially, he's been here, taught him things. He's been the only father figure in his life.
Can you believe this? Mr. Cooper emphasizes his commitment to his family's attachment to Jaden and his desire to clarify paternity to avoid disappointing his mother. The tension keeps escalating, and the stakes are getting higher.
I just said that, right? So you think I'm gonna disappoint my mama, even though I feel that doubt? I'm not about to have my mama look at me because she ain't raised that type of man. Whether I do or I don't know, that's why we here to find out today, which I need to find out.
Because you say your mother has just decided it's our baby.
Yeah, my mama put the role on me.
Look at that. Y'all see that? They look just alike. Look at that nose. No.
I'm pretty sure you see looks are deceiving every day in this court, Judge. They are deceiving. Don't let nothing fool you.
This is unbelievable. Mr. Cooper hopes to prove he is not the father, fearing the emotional impact on his family if the results confirm otherwise. The suspense is at its peak, and the next part will blow your mind.
What are you hoping for today?
Your Honor, I came here to prove that I wasn't the father.
That you were not.
Yes, I'm not. But then as I sit here and say that, if that case come back that I'm not that father, that's gonna break their hearts at home, because they got so attached to him.
I just hope that, the test results prove that he's the father.
What a revelation. Mr. Cooper accepts the results and pledges to take responsibility, promising to support Jaden and communicate directly with Ms. Canterbury. The story reaches its resolution, but it's not over yet.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Cooper, you are the father.
Like I said,
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
The session starts with introducing the case of Montoya, Sensabaugh versus Brown. And let me tell you, it's going to be a roller coaster. Ms. Montoya and her son, Mr. Sensabaugh, are convinced they've been duped by Ms. Brown about the paternity of her child. Judge Lake notes that a recent brush with death has made the DNA results today even more critical. You think that's crazy? Just wait.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Montoya, Sensabaugh versus Brown.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Montoya, you and your son, Mr. Sensabaugh, claim you've been lied to by the defendant about the paternity of her child on numerous occasions.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you believe the drama here? Ms. Brown gives us the lowdown on how her relationship with Mr. Sensabaugh hit the skids, blaming his mama's boy tendencies. She even had an apartment ready, but he ghosted her on lease signing day, leaving her to pack her bags for Oklahoma. Talk about a plot twist, and guess what happens next?
You say you were in a relationship. How did it end?
I didn't know that Gregory was such a mother's boy and that I was dealing with his mother.
How am I a mother's boy?
I would be dealing with his mother. I didn't lay with her, I laid with him. It ended when we had a conversation and he had said that he was ready to man up and move in together. So I had found an apartment. I had an apartment that was ready for us to sign the paperwork.
Oh boy, here we go. Judge Lake digs into the timing of Ms. Brown's activities with her ex right after being with Mr. Sensabaugh. Ms. Brown sheepishly admits it was pretty soon after, confirming our suspicions. You won't believe what she says next.
And how soon after you were intimate with Mr. Sensabaugh did you go down to see your ex?
It was soon. Yes.
Is that evidence you have for me? Jerome, will you pass that?
This is the calendar of the times that you slept with both of them.
Outlined the dates you were intimate with both men on a calendar. Green are the days you were intimate with Mr. Sensabaugh.
Yes, ma'am.
Now this is getting juicy. Judge Lake looks over a calendar Ms. Brown brought in, showing when she was intimate with both men, color-coded and all. The calendar proves there's a lot of gray areas here about who's the dad, and the plot thickens even more.
I guess experiencing morning sickness. Now here we go, you drove.
Greg knew.
You told me. I don't know what you told Greg or what.
I never told you that I took a plane to Oklahoma.
But did you tell her when you got off the plane?
No.
But when did you tell me you started throwing
I didn't talk to you until like a little bit after 8 months when I told him that he may be the father.
The tension is off the charts. Ms. Montoya and Mr. Sensabaugh vent their frustrations over Ms. Brown's lies, with Ms. Montoya bringing up her son's near-death experiences to stress the importance of the truth. The family's pain is clear, and just when you thought it was over, it's not.
Leave with him and something happening to my child. I love all my children equally and dearly. And it would have just been not right.
Like I explained to you, regardless of his life, I would have been the primary responsible person.
And you ain't had the
You're
best
not the primary responsible person when we were sleeping together, so how can I get word for that?
That was an emotional roller coaster. Ms. Montoya gets teary-eyed, talking about the potential grandchild she might be missing out on, sharing stories of her own past trauma. She mentions her 91-year-old grandmother, who might have a new great-great-grandchild. The stakes are sky high, and the drama keeps coming.
Your son told you there could be a baby.
No. Honestly, when I saw the baby, I called to check on the baby in her. I'm not, she can call me as she may, but I still
I never
care.
said
I'm
anything about you, and I still don't think nothing about you because I don't know you as a person.
She actually getting emotional talking about checking on you and your child.
What a revelation. The court gets the DNA test results, showing zero probability of Mr. Sensabaugh being the dad. Ms. Brown's initial certainty just crumbles, and the audience is left gasping. But the surprises aren't over yet.
I got an email in the middle of the night.
And what did the results say?
That there was zero probability of paternity.
Zero. But then what happens on week 14?
Week 14, I get told by my son that she said she lied and that she swapped one of her other kids on purpose so that he wouldn't be the father.
Wait a minute.
The drama is at its peak. Ms. Montoya shares the emotional toll of the situation, especially with her son's risky lifestyle and near-death experiences. She emphasizes the need for truth for her 91-year-old grandmother, who deserves to know if she has a great-great-grandchild. The family's need for closure is palpable, and you won't believe what's next.
This is my son. I can lose him at any given time. He's been shot twice. Who's to say the third time isn't gonna be it? My son almost died when he was 2 weeks old. So if she wants to consider him a mama's boy, that's fine. With him getting shot, it brings just different emotion to me. And I have a 91-year-old grandmother that's still able-bodied, and if this is her great-great-grandchild, she wants to be a part of her life as well.
That was heart-stopping. Judge Lake reads the final DNA results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Sensabaugh, you are not her father.
The case of Lee Veers Green is introduced, with Miss Lee aiming to prove Mr. Green fathered her 3-year-old son, Kingston. Miss Lee states Mr. Green denied the child from the beginning of her pregnancy. She hopes today's proceedings will end his denial. Hold on tight, because this is just the beginning of the roller coaster.
Oh, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Lee versus Green.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Lee, you have come to court today with one goal in mind: to prove to Mr. Green that he fathered your 3-year-old son, Kingston. Mr. Green has denied your son from the moment you got pregnant, but his denial will end. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Get your popcorn ready. Miss Lee recounts her struggles to get Mr. Green involved in Kingston's life, stating he never came around as he should. Mr. Green admits to trying to meet Miss Lee halfway, but she always gave excuses. He claims Miss Lee knew he had a girlfriend and attempted to break them up. Seriously, this is better than a soap opera.
But at the end of the day, I just want him to step up.
And Kingston is 3 years old.
Kingston 3, he just turned 3 June 3rd.
So this
And he didn't do nothing for his birthday.
I try to meet her halfway, but her attitude is just...
My attitude has nothing to do with you stepping up for your child.
It's messed up. She always give me some runaround excuse after excuse for, you know what I mean? It don't make sense. You know, I try to meet her halfway as far as, you know, taking the DNA test and things like that, but talking, it was back and forth. We was never in no steady relationship. She knew I had a girlfriend already.
This is juicy. Miss Lee describes an incident where she called Mr. Green's girlfriend from his phone to reveal she was pregnant. She details how she made him talk to his girlfriend while she was on the phone. This incident highlights the conflict and tension in their relationship. Wait till you see what happens next.
Oh, he couldn't. I called him.
She did.
Oh, from his phone. Yeah, I snuck, called the girl, woke him out his sleep and made him start talking and didn't let him know she was on the phone until the end of the conversation. Yeah, your dude over here and I'm pregnant, you know.
Whoa.
What it is.
In your mind, you knew you weren't really in a relationship with him, but you thought he was trying to play both sides.
Told me she was back and forth between some other dudes. She didn't know if his or mine at first.
Okay, wait.
I slept with another dude. Yes, I did. I slept with another dude one time with a condom.
Things are heating up. Mr. Green presents Facebook posts by Miss Lee, which he claims show her promiscuity. Miss Lee dismisses the relevance of the posts, stating they were made after Kingston's birth. Mr. Green insists these posts prove his doubts about Kingston's paternity. Stay tuned, because it's about to get even crazier.
That was recently. That's not when King was born, 2015 now.
Okay. And you submitted another question. Raise of hand. Who got the good D?
I want to know who got it.
Come on now.
I'm single.
She was advertised. I don't know who she with. Me and her were just friends with benefits.
Mr. Green, when you see these posts, you say she's out with whoever got the good D.
Yeah, basically.
I was out with.
Basically.
And you admittedly say that's what I'm looking for. That's what I asked.
I don't sugarcoat nothing.
This is unreal. Miss Lee reveals she has a sugar daddy who has supported her for 10 years but claims they never had sex. Mr. Green argues that the sugar daddy's support casts doubt on Kingston's paternity. Miss Lee insists her sugar daddy is not involved in Kingston's paternity. Get ready, because the plot thickens.
So you do have a sugar daddy?
Yeah, I got me a good sugar daddy. My sugar daddy been there for 10 years, have never ever left my side. He come way before this. He might want some pictures. Pictures and something else is totally, sex and pictures are totally different. Yeah, I send pictures.
This sugar daddy paid for the baby shower too.
Baby shower, he buys one, he does everything.
Where were you? You ain't bought nothing. You should be surprised another dude is doing something.
Oh man, the suspense. Mr. Green explains his numerous attempts to get a DNA test for Kingston, detailing several refusals by Miss Lee. Miss Lee counters by saying Mr. Green should have paid for half of the test. The judge criticizes both for not resolving the issue sooner. Don't go anywhere, because the revelations keep coming.
First of all, he was born on June 3rd. I went to the hospital. I asked the hospital, you know, can we go ahead and get DNA testing done, whatever. So a few days later going by, she's telling me, oh, it's too soon for him to come outside. He was just born, this and that.
I refused because he was a day old.
Here comes November. I'm still asking her, like, okay, cool, I want to see him. Let's go ahead and get the DNA results done, this and that. Oh, I'm all the way out here in Douglasville. I don't have a ride. You got to come get me. I'm like, why you can't meet me halfway? So she refused in, Your Honor, too.
This is getting intense. Mr. Green expresses his doubts about Kingston's paternity, citing Miss Lee's past statements and behaviors. Miss Lee argues that physical resemblance to Mr. Green's baby pictures proves paternity. The judge emphasizes that biology, not appearances, determines paternity. There's still more to uncover.
I mean, because like I said, when he was first born, she was saying, she did admit that she slept with someone. Top of that, after he was born, she kept asking me, oh, let me see your baby pictures. Let me get your baby picture, trying to compare. And once she got the baby picture, that's when she felt like she was 100%.
Bingo,
you know,
bingo.
She was
Don't they look like the same
sure.
baby? Look like the same baby. That's him in the blue.
Well, once she seen the picture, that's when right she feel more confident.
That's him.
You can't
That's
just go off the
him.
pitch.
What a twist. The judge addresses the emotional impact of foster care on Miss Lee and her desire to ensure Kingston has a father. Miss Lee shares her pain of not having a father growing up and wants to prevent the same for her son. The judge commends Miss Lee's persistence. You won't believe the next part.
The only time I feel like she really hits me up there, and then she'll be like, oh, I need a babysitter. What you doing? That's the only time I feel like. Only time she called me up is more convenient for her to go to work.
One of the babysitters
But it's not
I had,
when,
so when I told her,
But what
you're not a babysitter, you don't babysit your own.
I'm not a babysitter. That's why I'm not a babysitter.
It's different.
I mean, it's not so far out of the ordinary for her to say, hey, mister, can you watch child while I go to work? Or even if she just needed a break, does she trust you because you were so good to her other child?
And the moment of truth, the judge reads the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Green, you are the father.
Told you! I told you! Look at him!
Judge Lake opens the court with all the authority of a TV judge and greets everyone like a boss. The case is introduced as Craig vs. Craig Thompson. Sounds dramatic already, right? Jerome, ever the reliable assistant, gets a well-deserved thank you. Buckle up, this ride is about to get... Can you even wrap your head around this? Miss Craig narrates her first encounter with Mr. Thompson when she was around 10, a scene straight out of a soap opera. Turns out, the man she thought was her father was just her mom's boyfriend. Plot twist. Janelle, ever the keeper of secrets, had everyone believing Mr. Thompson was the real dad. The plot is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal now.
I came by her grandmama's house. Her mother wasn't there, and I seen Chanel.
Unbelievable, right? Mr. Thompson recounts returning to Chanel's life after getting a call from her aunt. Talk about a comeback. Chanel, understandably wary, brought a posse whenever she visited him, and the whole situation overwhelmed him. The drama only intensifies from here.
When you got this call from her aunt that she needed you, you came back again.
She wouldn't come with me alone. I just felt like that I wanted to spend time with her. She didn't want to spend time with me. She wanted to bring other people, and I couldn't deal with that.
As a child, I didn't trust him to be with him, so every time I left with him, I would bring a cousin or my sister with me.
That was heart-wrenching. Chanel opens up about her paternity confusion, which has hurt her deeply. She recalls taking a DNA test with a man from her past who wasn't her biological father. Talk about a disappointing reveal. This added layers of confusion and frustration to her already complicated life, and believe me, the story's only getting more tangled.
What fantasy world are you living in? Because I don't see that.
What an emotional moment. Chanel lays the blame on her parents for not resolving the paternity issue sooner. Janelle admits to a bit of promiscuity at 16, which really muddies the waters here. Mr. Thompson's doubts stem from not seeing Janelle pregnant and another name on the birth certificate. The revelations are coming fast and furious now.
Are you asking your mother?
I'm mad at both of them because they should have got it done when I was born, and if they didn't get it done...
I can't believe this is happening. Janelle explains her teenage fear led her to accept another man's offer to step up and be on the birth certificate. Mr. Thompson feels utterly betrayed by this revelation. Chanel's lifelong confusion and pain are all too apparent as she processes these arguments. Emotions are about to run even higher.